Hi guys, welcome back to yet another YouTube video. Welcome back to yet another. So as you can tell by the title, we are back again with Poland history, how it impacted the world and during the Second World War. Because recently I just reacted to a video that covered how perfectly, like, it really gave me a bigger picture and better understanding of how impactful Poland was to the world history, and especially during the Second World War, because it is one of those wars that you look back to and really have a lot of questions to, you need answers to, because it was a war. It was a big war that really impacted the world in many different ways, economically and even psychologically. It left people crying, people died, and the Jews were the most affected people during the war, because they had to go through it all. They went through it. As I say, they went through it. They really did. But then, and me watching that video, I really got to understand that Poland really served the Jews. They served the Jews. And I was like, what? Shout out to the Poles. If you're from Poland and if you call yourself a Polish man, shout out to you and respect to you, because dang, me watching that video, it left me really with a better picture, with a new vision, with a new eyes, with the new glasses that with new lenses. So it was kind of thoughtful and really, yeah, it taught me something. Every day we get to learn something new, and for me that video right there left me not the same. Like, I got to see the world in a different perspective during, because the Second World War was so impactful to the entire world, but what we learn in school is just so objective and so one-sided. So there is that. But today in this video we're gonna watch another video that stated that time Poland saved the world, and let's see if this really gives me some new glasses, some new eyes to see, and hope it's not objective as the other videos that tend to be. When we learn history in school, it's always one-sided, and we got to learn about how impactful America was, how impactful French was, how Germany was, and how the Soviet was, Russia was, but we don't get to see how these small countries that were not really in the bigger picture were, because those countries are the ones that really led the world to become the way it is today, and we don't get that. We don't get to learn that, and that's stupid. That's totally out of hand. The teachers and the schools needs to really put into the curriculum. Like, this needs to be taught in school, I feel like. But yes, let's continue with this video. If you're new here, all you gotta do is subscribe. Do you have any videos that you like me to do? Go ahead and drop them in the comment section down below, and let's jump into this one. Let's go. That time Poland saved the world. Let's go. Let's see.
Those of us who live in places of the world that have not had their very existence threatened in living memory tend to forget how fragile order actually is. Everything that you love, your family, your country, your freedom, those things that are taken for granted, actually have defined boundaries. Those things exist because men stand ready to do violence and defend them in the night against those who would take them away from them. There is a place, a frontier of sorts, where such men have stood guard for centuries. A place where East has repeatedly collided with West. A rampart which shielded the Western world against enemies many were not even aware existed. The Mongols, the Tatars, the Ottomans, and merely 100 years ago, the Soviet communists, who were keen to push their totalitarian ideology westward. This is the story of a long-forgotten battle, in which Poland overcame the enemy, and by so doing, may well have changed the fate of Europe and of the world. It's the story of the Battle of Warsaw, the miracle you've never heard of.
I've never heard of this.
Let's
go. The Battle of Warsaw.
We need to go back in time. In 1918, from the ashes of the First World War, after 123 years of occupation, Poland rose again. To the east, in Russia, just a year earlier.
This right here, I've never heard of before. And that one thing that makes me really kind of feel like there was a way that the curriculum in schools should be changed in order to teach even this type of stuff, because I feel like they're so crucial, they're so important, they need to be taught, and we keep on forgetting about them. We keep on put them on the line.
The October Revolution. This huge turning point
okay,
in world history.
I remember reading about the October Revolution, but let's see how was Poland a part of this. Let's see.
It did not happen overnight. The seeds of revolution were planted 70 years earlier by Karl Marx in his Communist Manifesto and Das Kapital. The critique of private ownership and of the right to accumulate capital, the hatred of traditional values. These were some of the intellectual underpinnings of Lenin and his followers. The new and better world they sought to build required the dismantling and ruin of the previous system. The Russia of old was replaced with a new Bolshevik state. As the communists consolidated power, they became keen on exporting their ideology. They proclaimed the need for the dictatorship of the proletariat and agitated for a worldwide communist revolution.
Let's go.
Soviet leadership expected a revolution in economic crisis-ridden Germany. But to support communist revolution there, Poland needed to be conquered first. Unlike old powers that were tired and broken by war, Poland had just reclaimed its independence and Poles were fervently rebuilding and consolidating their country. They sought to strengthen that which the occupiers had tried to crush, their culture, language and faith.
So they wanted to occupy Poland. They wanted to take over Poland. But since Poland had already got its independence, they denied. They said, no, you are not here to take us. You are not here to take our land. This is us. This is where we belong. And you're not here. You are not about to take us. You are not about to own us. You know, there were some countries, like especially the Soviet Russia, really had the desire of taking over the world. Even Germany, those countries, they had the desire of owning the entire world and making it their own. But dang, shout out to Poland for denying this. Let's go.
Bolsheviks needed to extinguish a reawakening Poland as fast as possible. Not only did it stand completely at odds with their values, it was also their bridge into Western Europe. And so, the Bolshevik Revolution moved west, carried forward by the bayonets of the Red Army, recruited from the very lowest echelons of society. The communists preached freedom and equality, but they brought misery and death. General Tukhachevsky's order from the 2nd of July 1920 read, "To the west, over the corpse of white Poland lies the road to worldwide conflagration. On our bayonets we will bring happiness and peace to the toiling masses of mankind. To the west, onward to Berlin over the corpse of Poland." It wasn't just the independence of Poland that was at stake in the Battle of Warsaw. If the Soviets managed to break the Poles and push west into Germany, communist revolution may have been successfully ignited, and Europe may have fallen to the Soviets. The Soviets moved through Poland at the remarkable rate of 32 kilometers a day. By the beginning of August 1920, the vanguards of the Soviet army had reached the outskirts of Warsaw. The Poles were unwilling to give up their newly acquired independence. The nation came together and mobilized its resources. A volunteer army was created. In total, over 100,000 Poles would join from all walks of life. Peasants and aristocrats, students and workers, Boy Scouts and intellectuals alike enlisted to defend Poland. Polish women were not idle either, with thousands enlisting in the voluntary Legion of Honor.
Even the women?
Civilians gathered food and medical supplies, and
Come
church
on.
pews filled up as Poles prayed for victory over the Bolshevik armies.
No, that's what I love. I love when a country comes together for change. When a country comes says, no, everybody, you are accountable. This is your land. You need to come together. We need to work together in order to gain what we all want to gain. And that's what exactly the Poles did during that time. They said, no, 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 no. We need to own ourselves. And we are not about to let the Soviet people to take over us. We're not. And they did exactly that. Shout out to them. Let's continue. This is so enlightening and actually shows me a new kind of vision to history. It gives me another type of side to history. Let's continue.
Volunteers from abroad also joined the Poles. Americans formed the Kościuszko Volunteer Fly Squadron. The French sent an advisory group, and the Hungarians supplied ammunition. The Soviets advanced, confident in victory. However, the Polish military intelligence had successfully decrypted the Red Army's radio messages, and the Poles prepared themselves.
They decrypted Red Army's radio sessions? They literally cracked their codes. I shout out. Like, imagine being so well put when it comes to technology, because I feel like it was a small country, so nobody knew that it was that developed during that time. You know, they knew that it was independent, but they didn't know that it had become at that level of technology that everybody expected. It had really stepped ahead and nobody knew. You know, I feel like that because they did not expect Poland to be aware of whatever they did. They thought, dang, this is a small country. This is nothing. This is something we're going to work. This is something we're going to go through. And this is something we're going to just play around with. But no, 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 no. They said, hey, 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 we are about to crack your codes. And we are not giving up. And this time around, you're not coming for us. We are coming for you. And that's exactly what they did. Shout out. Let's continue.
For the oncoming onslaught. On the 13th of August, the Battle of Warsaw finally started.
The Battle of Warsaw,
die was
13th of
cast.
August 1920.
This was a war of worlds. Freedom against oppression, faith against godlessness, the right to work, create and own against
Okay.
complete subjugation to the state,
For real.
the individual against the collective.
Yes.
This was a battle between Western civilization and communist totalitarianism.
Yes.
It was here, on the outskirts of Warsaw, that in August of 1920,
Come on.
the fate of the world was
The
to be
fate
decided.
of the world was
On
to
the
be
14th
decided.
of August, Father Ignacy Skorupka marched with the 236th Infantry Regiment of the Volunteer Army and died in battle, allegedly as he led a charge with his crucifix in hands, thus becoming a symbol of the battle for Warsaw. And
Okay.
against all odds, the Poles prevailed. It took the tactical genius of Field Marshal Piłsudski, General
I'm telling you.
General Haller, the courage of Polish soldiers and the mobilization of the whole country to overcome the Soviets. At the end
Yes.
of the 15th of August, the Soviet advance was finally halted, and on the next day, Field Marshal Piłsudski led the successful Polish counteroffensive.
Come on. They
Since
literally
victory
won
occurred on
against the
Feast of
Soviet.
Assumption, the battle
Yes.
came to be known as the Miracle of the Vistula.
Wow.
The Bolshevik horde, which was meant to enter Europe over Poland's dead course and assist German communist workers, was not only stopped, but turned back and contained. Remember that your freedoms are not free. They are hard fought and paid for in blood. It's not wasted skill.
Yes. 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 Yes! Now we are talking. Now we are talking. I didn't know about this. I didn't know about this. Because they literally said, no, we are not letting nobody take over our country. We are saving what we have. And this is ours. The Polish did not play games. They did not play games. They woke up just one day and decided, we are going to crack codes. We are going to crack codes. And they did exactly that. They did exactly that. And, you know, I feel like this country should be given some type of respect for the work that they did, because it really saved the entire Europe from being taken over, from being owned by the Soviet Russian, the communists. Because, you know, who knew? Who knew? Like today, imagine living like Russia as it lives today. Imagine living in a communist state for in the entire world. Dictatorship being the only way to rule. Like that thing right there, it gives me like, wow, that ain't it. That ain't it. But you know, what can we say? But Poland managed to save many countries in Europe, because I feel like this video right here enlightened how much Poland worked in order to save the entire Europe's independence, because they really did save it. They did with this. And then we need to give them respect, because I feel like this is the type of history that we should get to learn, and we should get to monitor and understand its fullest, but we don't. But you guys, there is not much you can say. Tell me what you think of this video, and if you want me to react to more history, go ahead and drop them in a comment section down below, because I actually enjoy history. History is like, yes, so informative, so thoughtful, and makes you see the world in a certain kind of perspectives, and make you compare how you live today and the way they lived then, because it is so beautiful. But yes, let me end the video right here, and shout out to Poland, and shout out to the people of Poland, because you guys saved us all. Saved us all. But yes, let me end the video right here, and let me see you in my next video. So let's say peace.